Welcome to the Mr. Curry Experience Online. This is World Humanities Week in Review. So we had a really interesting week. We watched an empire fall apart. And I think that we learned that it wasn't a one thing, a barbarian invasion, or it wasn't like one crazy emperor. We saw that it was a death of 1,000 cuts. We took a look at a lot of primary documents outlining various social reasons why people felt the empire just wasn't worth preserving, and other social reasons why the empire collapsed because people became more Christian and less old school Roman. We saw certain political aspects such as people who didn't feel connected to their government anymore, slaves who were shut out from the political process. We saw economic reasons why the empire collapsed. They couldn't expand anymore. They were suffering from a population shortage as far as people were concerned for being in the military or working and paying taxes. We saw the toll that slavery had on not only draining resources without actually creating more economic activity, but also how that slavery really drove up and maintained artificially high unemployment rates. So there were a whole lot of things that we took a look at that explained why a culture that had lasted for 1,000 years ultimately fell apart. Of course, we did our paragraph on that as well, and I've been spending the weekend slogging through them. I think most everybody got the idea of what it was we were shooting for. A few of you are still having trouble with the whole concept of putting evidence where it belongs in the Toolman model and where analysis belongs. And so we're going to have to continue to kind of drill on that in regards to the idea of building proper arguments. It's not just enough to just throw data out there and say, see, Mr. Curry, I have this data. You're going to have to be able to say to me, I not only have this data, but I know what this data means and why we should care about this data. And that's analysis, the idea of being able to take data and put it together and say, well, I'm looking at all these things and they're telling me a particular story. And we're going to have to get that under our belts here pretty soon because the drag is rapidly approaching. At the end of this month, we will begin the drag paper and the project as a whole. And that involves writing 3 more body paragraphs that now function as independent arguments to support a larger thesis, which will be the thesis for your paper. So we're going to have to buy into this idea of where stuff goes in the paper and then what we do both after that evidence and as far as how we transition into it and weave it all together to support a primary thesis. Because we're going to be moving from 3 pieces of evidence supporting a claim to 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces of evidence supporting a larger claim. So the sooner we get that under the belt, the better off we're going to be. At the end of the week, we of course reviewed for our Rome exam, which is happening on Tuesday. It's 1 day back from our original plan, so we're on time, pretty much, doing pretty good. It's a good thing that we're having on Tuesday because on Wednesday you will be taking the ACT test, practice test. Not really 100% certain what exactly we're having you do, but it's an ACT thing. I should probably find an email and read it again. Yeah. Anyway, so on Thursday we get back to our regular schedule, and Thursday is going to be really cool because on the history side of things, we're actually going to be starting the Middle Ages. And Greece and Rome kind of went by pretty quick, 3 weeks for Greece and 3 weeks for Rome. We have a rip-roaring 4 weeks for the Middle Ages, and we're going to have a good time going through and checking out all the social, political, and economic ins and outs of the European Middle Ages and all of the wildness that is the Dark Ages of Europe. So that's our weekend review and a little bit of a preview of what's coming up this week. Hope you've enjoyed your 4-day weekend. Hope you're studying for that Rome test on Tuesday. As always, I'm Mr. Curry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in class in just a few short days.